Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news, but also it will be Skype Goldbridge as well. Your opportunity to call in and have your say on everything Manchester United that might be getting on your nerves or that you want to talk about. And let's start off with Nainggolan. Nainggolan to Manchester United. The dream is over. Another one bites the dust. All the great songs, but it's not going to happen. He's finally committed to Roma. He signed a new contract and this summer, I suppose, if you're one of those people who are getting a bit concerned about it, it's more bad news. Nainggolan's a fantastic player. I don't think there's any doubt that Manchester United were in for him. We were linked to him back in February. The indication was always that he wanted to stay in Rome. Look, the midfield is the problem. If you've been watching United over the tour, the midfield's the problem, and a player like that would be fantastic. But you can't get everybody, and if he wants to stay in Rome, he wants to stay in Rome. But the reality is he's not coming to Manchester United, and much the same with last night's show in relation to Fabinho. It's another player that sadly, and I do feel sad, there's no possibility of anymore. They won't be coming to Manchester United. So like we crossed off Fabinho last night, we're crossing off Nainggolan tonight. And we're moving very close to what I think it's going to happen. It's going to be Matic. There was news today, I think it was in the Independent, saying that Matic wants to come to Manchester United. So Juventus have backed off, and it's a clear path to Manchester United now because Chelsea want the money and they're happy with 40 million. I bet they are. And Perisic, interesting on Perisic, his manager saying that they want to keep him, but it's down to the player and what the club's appetite is. And as we believe, Perisic does want to come to United. And I'd welcome him, to be totally honest. I really would. But let me just say, a lot of people have been going on about negativity lately. Look, when there's divided opinion, there's going to be conflict. But we are all Manchester United fans. And what I would say is, as well, to all those people who are calling United fans negative or moaners, have you ever realised that those negative people or moaners, and you can throw me into that if you want, have you ever actually thought that we're the positive people and you are the negative people? Because our message that you perceive to be negative is effectively Manchester United have got fantastic talent. We've got Lukaku, we've got Rashford, Lingard's playing well, Martial's a fantastic talent, Mkhitaryan, Pogba, Herrera. We've got a decent back four with the likes of Bailly in there, Valencia. We've got a world-class goalkeeper with De Gea. We are one decent midfielder away, I think, from being a fantastic side. We're one midfielder away. That's positivity. The frustration is that we're not acquiring that midfielder and we keep playing Fellaini in there or Carrick in there who's just too slow to move the ball out. So I think that's actually a positive message. I'm not saying that the whole team's not good enough. I think we are one player away, a crucial player, from being a fantastic side. So I think the people who are, saying, that midfield position is a problem, we're not the negative people. We're actually the positive people because we're saying get a decent midfielder in there and we've got a fantastic side. On the flip side, the people who are saying, oh, stop moaning, you're negative. Well, I'd say you're negative because you're the ones telling us to stop moaning. So that means you're happy. You're content to just sit back, trust the team that we've got, trust the Fellaini playing in the midfield. I think that's negative. I think that lacks ambition. I think that lacks understanding what Manchester United's all about. I actually think that's negative. So if you are one of those people who have actually been, supposedly negative because you're frustrated by the transfer window, you're frustrated by our inability to get the right sort of midfielder in, I think you're the positive ones because I think, like me, you can see that bring a midfielder in, you've got Herrera and Pogba playing with him, you've got Pereira on the bench, you've got Mkhitaryan, you've got Rashford, you've got Martial, you've got Lukaku, you've got Mata, Lingard, and then the defence, you've got Bailly. I thought Smalling played well. Lindelof will be good. Valencia, De Gea, left back's a bit of a problem, but we've got a lot of good players. If we can just sort out that centre defensive midfielder, I think we can do anything this season. I really do. So I think that's a positive message that people call moaning. I think the moaners are the negative people because they're like, well, shut up moaning and just put up with what we've got. No thanks. I don't really like watching as our strikers may as well have the slippers and a bucket of hobnobs and watch the TV because they're not getting any decent ball. We need a midfielder. It's going to be Matic. I prefer Matic over Fellaini. I prefer about 10 other midfielders over Matic, but that's what we're going to end up with, I think. And Perisic, I welcome Perisic. He actually put a fantastic first-time cross in for Inter. I think it was today, actually, or I saw the goal today, and it led to a goal. So Perisic, giving us a few more options out on the wide, I'll be very, very happy about that. Very happy indeed. Right. I don't know. Without further ado, let's take a call from you.
Hello?
Hello, Richard. You're live on the United Stand. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to talk about something something that you said about Fellaini in your video this morning and Ibrahimovic, calling him an old relic.
Okay,
and I actually disagree. I actually disagree with you saying that, because how is he an old relic when he scored nearly most of our goals last year and was our best player and the best signing of the summer? And how can you say that he's an old relic and that he would make our side less boring?
So you would like 36-year-old coming off a bad injury, Zlatan, back in November time at Manchester United?
Well, yeah, because you hear him in his interviews. He always says when people criticise him, all the pundits, he comes back stronger, and he's proved that, and he will come back stronger.
Right. Well,
so,
I'll give you my opinion on it then. My opinion is nobody's a bigger fan of Zlatan than me. A year ago, he was getting a bit of stick, and I said Zlatan's a fantastic striker. He'll score goals. He'll score a goal every other game. My concern with Zlatan coming back is, one, what I just said there. He's after a bad injury. Two, I look around what everybody else is doing in the transfer window, and I wonder why we are bringing a relic back, because there's no future in Zlatan. We get him for 6 months. Do we drop Lukaku to play him every week, and then everyone plays a high line and we struggle like we did towards the end of last season? And then the third thing about Zlatan is he will score goals, but I think he will affect the way we play football, and that is inability to stretch teams because he hasn't got any pace.
We've lost. It will be good if we get him back, because for two things. If Lukaku gets injured, he'll be good. Like if he comes back in January for the last part of the season, and we've lost Rooney. Carrick's not. He's not going to play a lot because he's too old. Who have we got in the dressing room who's experienced, who can tell us what we're doing wrong in the Champions League and stuff? Who have we got?
My concern with Zlatan is that Mourinho will play him every week, because that's what he did last season. If he's thinking, I want Zlatan there as a backup, he can come off the bench, he can play the odd game here and there, but he's a backup. Of course, we all want Zlatan. He's one of the best strikers there's ever been. But my concern is, we turn a page, we get rid of Rooney, Zlatan's injured, we turn a new page, we bring Lukaku in, who is, he is quick and he is combative. And then in November time, Zlatan comes back. We've got the whole I am Zlatan world again, where he's rubbish at free kicks, but he's taking the free kicks. He's playing every week. Bournemouth are coming to Old Trafford, and their back line is on the halfway line, and they're pressing the hell out of us because they're not scared of the ball over the top. That's my concern about Zlatan. If he's coming to be a squad player and help us out, brilliant. There's no better player than that. But if he's going to come back and be treated like he was last season, then I've got concerns, because people figured it out towards the end of the season with Zlatan. He was too easy to play against in the Premier League. It's a catch-22.
I think he will be a squad player.
You're not right.
I think he'll be a squad player because we've signed who Lukaku. We signed him, and he's the future for us. And I think he can give like a lot of advice to people like him.
Yeah,
if he's in the dressing room.
It's a perfect.
And another thing, you said Fellaini. You said about Fellaini that he's affecting us in pre-season, that we've had a bad pre-season. We've won 4 of our games against pre-season. It's not one player that is bad our team, it's our whole team. You can't just blame it on Fellaini and say he's slow. Michael Carrick's slow. He's been slow nearly all his life. Matic, you don't have to be fast to be a CDM. Do you know what I mean?
I've been quite critical of Carrick on this tour. I don't know whether you've been watching the watch-alongs, but I love Carrick, but I've been very critical of Carrick and Fellaini and McTominay. You're right, you don't have to be fast, but I think people are getting lost on this, and they're just taking it literally that you've got to be fast at running. It's a fast football brain. Every time Fellaini gets the ball, he has to take a touch. He can't pass further than 5 yards, and what happens is our defence give Fellaini the ball, and the opposition have got about 5 years to get into position. And by the time he gives the ball to our strikers or our wide men, they've got no space. Martial, Rashford, Lukaku work best with the ball in front of them running at a back 4. We did it in the first half against Man City. We had a quick and dynamic midfield. And I don't mean quick pace. I mean Herrera and Pogba in there. They moved the ball fast to Mkhitaryan, who was running at the City back 4. He's
effective, Fellaini, though.
What?
He's not post goals, and that's what all Man United fans are used to. Post goals in the midfield for the last years. But he does the job. He does the job for Mourinho.
I think Fellaini's an atrocious player. I'll agree with you on Zlatan, but I think Fellaini is the problem. I agree it's not his fault he gets picked. Mourinho picks him, and I love Mourinho, but
it's one player, Fellaini, it's one player, and it's a team game.
But I just said
before,
players on the pitch. I said before you came on the show there, that position to me, and I'm not being negative, I'm being positive, we are one player away from having a fantastic team, and that one player is a centre defensive midfielder who can take the ball off the back four, who can feed the attackers in front of him and the midfielders very quick, and when we've not got the ball, he can be tenacious in the tackle, win the ball and feed our attackers. You know, your typical Kante, your typical Wanyama, that sort of midfielder is what United are crying out for. Fellaini, you know, whether you like him or not, he can never, ever, ever, ever do that job because he's not quick. I tell you what I like about Fellaini. I like Fellaini off the bench, last 15 minutes. Let's put some balls into the mixer. The best chest control in the world. He's a real handle in the opposition's penalty box. I'm not saying we should sell Fellaini. I just think as a centre defensive midfielder, it's not his position, and it really, really makes us dull and boring. But it's all about opinion.
I think Mourinho could turn that man around this morning. He gets too much slack, that man. He gets too much slack, and Mourinho could turn him around to be a good CDM. And Matic could be a good CDM. I know you don't like him, but if you think about it, he's really tall, isn't he, for the Premier League?
He can pass the ball. He can pass the ball. I'll give him that.
Yeah. The season Mourinho won the league, I think it was the 14-15 season, he was like one of the best CDMs in Europe for that season. And we could get him for 1 year and to free Pogba up to be more attacking. And you don't want Matic. I don't
take Matic over Fellaini.
You wouldn't take Matic.
I wouldn't. There's plenty to take over him. I think we'll get him though. And
yeah,
you're not in the minority about. There's a lot of fans who do want Matic, so I'm not gonna. I think we will get him, but again, it's all about opinion. Not for me. Not for me. I'm afraid, Richard. But you know, well done for coming on. And you know, if everyone's got a different opinion,
well, do you know what, mate? I disagree with you. You're an Italian immigrant. Go and wipe the spaghetti off your chin, mate.
You what? I'm a what? I'm an Italian immigrant. Oh yeah, look, I'm very Italian. Look, I look really Italian. I presume he's hung up. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, let's take another call. Move on from that. Try Mark. Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm not so bad.
Good, good. What do you want to talk about? Let's move on.
Don't quite agree with the comment from the guy before, and I don't know what he was quite going on about at the end there.
No, I think he was trying to be quite cutting, but he's just left us all with a big question mark. So you know, we'll move on. I thought for most of the call, I actually thought, you know, finally we've got somebody who you get a lot of people in the comments saying you're negative about Fellaini and that. I thought he's making some good points, even though I totally disagree with it, but ruined it at the end. But
yeah, no, I do think he was actually having quite a good argument for his point, and I don't quite understand why he ruined himself at the end. But there you go. Never mind.
All right, it's all right. Some people get a bit lost when people give a debate back, but it's not easy to debate with people. What do you want to talk about, Mark? I
was just going to say a couple of things. Formation. How do you think United are going to line up this season? The way I've been looking at Pereira, I know when he used to play for Granada over in Spain. I'm just wondering whether Jose's thinking about playing him in a CDM role. He is that. After watching him on the tour, he is pretty quick. He's dynamic. He certainly puts in a tackle and he puts himself around. And yeah, he can put thread that ball through for a 20, 30 yard pass quite happily. I would quite happily see him in a CDM role, actually.
Did you watch the game last night, Mark?
I saw half of it. I've got to admit, I watched the first half.
You were right. Get out while the going was good. It was awful the second half. And I think for those who were watching it, whether you watched the watch along or not, the disappointing thing is, and this is not a Fellaini hate thing, when Fellaini came on, I think we were all stunned because he played 90 minutes against Real Madrid. So you think 2 days later he's not going to play. He came on and we could have played Pereira as CDM. It was Barcelona reserves. As you said, Pereira was playing in La Liga against Barcelona and Real Madrid first team when it mattered last year. He could have played. Twansibi could have came on. Fosu Mensah could have come on. And I think that's the disappointing. I think those three players, one of them could be our next centre defensive midfielder. I think they're all talented lads, but Mourinho just doesn't seem to want to do it. But I agree. I think going back to the question there, I mean, how do you see us lining up next season? I do think we'll sign Matic. I'm resigned to that and I will back him. But how we'll do it, we could all hope that it would be Matic, Herrera and Pogba. But I don't think Matic is able to be the centre defensive midfielder on his own now. Last year he had Kante alongside him, so I think either Herrera will drop in, or we'll see the nightmare scenario, and it might be an exciting scenario for Mourinho because he loves height. We might see some games where we're playing Matic and Fellaini as our centre defensive midfielders.
I don't want to see that. That's just slow. That's going backwards, not forwards. That's going back to the Van Gaal era. I personally, I'd like to see United line up, and I know it's a bit of a strange formation with like a 3-1-4-2. I like the idea of Lukaku and Rashford being up front. It's quick, it's pacey. The first game that we played, to me, I'd love to see that. The pair of them up the front, I think they would tear defences apart. They'd be scared stiff of ball over the top. 4 in the midfield. I'd like to see a winger come in, which would give us some more dynamics to the team. Playing 3 at the back with a central defensive midfielder that can drop in to make a 4, which could be Matic, because Matic can play as a centre back or a CDM. Herrera, Pogba, Pereira in the middle, on the side. I think that'd be a really good formation. But another point I was thinking about, I'm just wondering if Jose is actually trying to make a point by completely playing Fellaini all the time, as if to say, look, this is what I've got. You're not giving me the money to go and buy anybody else. This is what I've got. What can we do about it?
I'd love that. I've seen some people say it, but I think I don't. I think he actually does really like Fellaini because he played him a lot last season. But the formation yesterday in the first half actually was fairly decent, because it was we did play a number 10. We did have the width with Lingard and Rashford. We had Lukaku up front as well. And then we had Pogba and Carrick. And I liked that. I liked that formation last night. I liked the formation against City where we had one up front again and Mkhitaryan was like a number 10. And I liked the 3-5-2. What I don't want us to go back to, and it is the formation I think he will, is the midfield 3, that it's a midfield 3 that leaves a big gap between our midfield and the attack where there is no number 10. It's like Pogba, Herrera, Fellaini, and there's no link between the attack. So I've liked the fact that he has played that sort of number 10 for Mkhitaryan, and it's so hard to judge our attackers at the moment because I don't know about you, but we're just not getting the ball to them quick enough, and they're being starved. I mean, that an individual bit of brilliance from Martial is the only goal we've scored in 180 minutes, and that doesn't surprise me when we're not playing. We're not getting the ball out of the midfield enough.
I don't think if we're going to play a 3 in the midfield and a 3-3, I don't think. Well, I don't know. I just don't think it's for us at the minute. I don't think we've got the ability in the squad to do it. When you see Barcelona of old with Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, and everyone knows the amazing front 3 at the top, that's how you play a 4-3-3. That's the undeniability of Barcelona. That's when they're at their greatest. They showed the whole world how to play it. United don't have that squad at the minute that can do that. I'm not saying they won't have in the future, but I just don't think they've got the capability of doing it now. And I just think that they need to play what they can play and do what they can do with the players that they've got at the minute in time. And I do think they need to play a 5 in the midfield, which will swamp the midfield, the 2 up front, leading on, with the 2 wing-backs on the left and the right. And we all know that we've got the positions on the right if we need it, or on the right to do it. And with the new signing coming on the left, I think we can play a 5 in the middle, and I think we'd easily have the ability to come back with a back 3 and defend that as well. We just need to find the right 3 in the middle of the park to protect all of them. And Herrera and Pogba we know, but then you've got a choice, haven't you? You've got Mkhitaryan, who's amazing at number 10. I do think that's his proper position. Pereira, I think, could play as a 10, or he could play as a CDM, as that's what he was playing in Spain. So I'm really, really positive about the season. I just really want the season to go the way that Jose wants it to go. Everyone knows he's one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, at what he does. And I can't help but be positive about that. And even if we do get Matic, I know I'm not totally resigned on buying Matic. there would have been others. I've said before in a conversation with you, I would have loved Fabinho, but that's gone now. That's out the window. Forget about it. Move on. And if it is Matic, it is Matic. But we need to play. I think if we're going to pull Matic in, playing a 3 at the back with him dropping into a 4 to make it solid, and then playing 5 in the middle, I think we can. I think we can go forward. And I think with Lukaku and Rashford going forwards, I think undeniably you're going to score goals. I think you're going to destroy teams. If you can get that 3 with the one dropping from the midfield back in, help out, and the play come back and forwards, I'm really sure that we can. That's the way to go. But that's not everyone's opinion. That's just mine, and I'm a minority of millions.
Well, good points again, Mark. Thanks for calling. And yeah, well, I don't disagree with a lot of what you've said. I think it's going to be an interesting season ahead. And like you, I am positive about it. I just think we're one player away. Thanks for calling in.
No problem at all.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you.
Cheers.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
Yeah, I am positive about the season ahead. I'm predicting we're going to win the league because Mourinho always wins it in the first 2 years. But I am positive about it. I just feel that we're one player ahead. Jose does favour Matic, says Paul Lucas. Yeah, I do think we will end up signing him, if I'm totally honest. I had to go then because I could hear the telly in the next room. It was getting on my nerves. Good point, says United in the stands, which they were. And Fabinho and Ousmane Dembele is much better than Matic and Perisic, says Fortune. Very, very true. That is the interesting thing, isn't it? That we are... Neymar's available this summer. Aubameyang's available this summer. Fabinho's available this summer. Some fantastic talent available this summer, and Manchester United don't appear to be in for any of it, which is, it's disappointing. It is disappointing, of course it is. But let me get another caller. I'm talking to myself a lot. Damien, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, you're live on the United Stand.
Hello.
Fantastic talent.
Hello, I'm just trying to turn you down.
Okay.
In for any of it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're live.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes.
Get another call.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
All right, sorry. I know.
No, it's not going to work. That's not going to work at all, unfortunately. Let's take another caller. It's a fun one tonight. Trying to get it working. See who we can get. Let's try. This one. Skype's playing up a little bit. Here we go. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Mark.
Oh, is that Sophie?
Yeah, speaking.
Hi, you're live on the United Stand. I know you messaged me about coming on. You now are live. What was it you wanted to talk about?
Just about. I watched the game yesterday, and I agree with you. I think we're one player away, really. I mean, Lukaku was isolated a lot yesterday, and I feel like Blind was our outlet. And every time at left back he got the ball, he was looking up, and literally Lukaku was his only option. I feel that's what we're lacking at the moment. Someone left back. I mean, preferably I'd like Shaw back, obviously, fully fit. But is that going to happen realistically?
I'm a big Luke Shaw fan. I'm a little bit concerned going into the season. I think it's a good point about the left back. I mean, I don't know about you. I thought Daley Blind. I like Daley Blind. I think he had a lot of stick last night and this morning on social media especially. But I like Daley Blind. But he was atrocious last night. And that leads to the bigger question. What would you do? I mean, are you happy that we've got Blind, Darmian, and I like Luke Shaw. I think if he's fit, he's the best English left back. But I don't know. There is a big question mark about it. But we're clearly not going to sign a left back. So is that an area that concerns you in relation to Darmian and Blind going into a new season?
Attacking wise, yes. I think if you compare like fullbacks like Alonso from Chelsea and Moses, attacking like options, they're fantastic. Whereas Blind, don't get me wrong, I do like Blind as a player, but he's a bit limited going forward. I mean, he's not going to beat a man realistically, and I think that's one of our weaknesses, really. I mean, if we get Perisic, obviously that could be different. But yeah, Luke Shaw would be my number one option as well.
Sorry, what about the? I mean, you talked about Lukaku being isolated there. We were speaking with the previous two callers about the midfield. One very pro Fellaini, one saying that we feel that we are one midfielder away. It's looking like it's going to be Matic. Is that somebody that you'd be happy to go for, or do you think that we might have a solution within the club? What's your thoughts on Manchester United in relation to where we are at the moment, and where we're going to finish in next season?
See, I do like Matic. He's obviously Premier League proven. He's a good player, but my concern would be Herrera. I mean, for me, Herrera and Pogba, and then Mkhitaryan just in front. That is a good combination. And when Matic comes in, what's going to happen there? Is Pogba going to push further forward? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, we played that. That was the first half against Man City a week ago. We played that, and we played it away to Leicester as well. Pogba and Herrera as a midfield two, sort of sharing the role with a number 10, and against City it was Mkhitaryan. The one thing that Pogba and Herrera do for me is that they at least are able to move the ball quickly. I think we see with Fellaini and unfortunately with Carrick that we don't move the ball quickly, and then as you were saying with Lukaku, with Blind, if they haven't got the ball, they're not going to have a good game. So I could see that, but then I suppose some people might say, well, then you miss out on Pogba getting forward.
Yeah, I agree completely, and that's like the conundrum that we face, isn't it? I mean, Herrera complements Pogba brilliantly because he does all the dirty work for him.
In relation to the season, bit of a difficult question to finish off with, but in relation to the season, where we are at the moment, because we can only judge with the now, and I'm sure there will be transfers coming in, and I suspect it will be Perisic and Matic. Where would you expect Manchester United to finish in the Premier League next season, head and heart?
Head and heart, I think top two, because I trust Mourinho. And I think if you look at some of the videos from the tour, the team spirit is there. I mean, we haven't seen team spirit like it has been for a while. Under Van Gaal, it was nothing like it is now. So I do trust Mourinho. So I think top. Yeah. He
does win the title in the first 2 years, which Yeah,
it's proven.
It is proven, and I hope it is proven again. Thanks for calling in, Sophie. Really, really good call. I know it's your first time on the show, so please do call in again.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Let's go to the live comments. Perisic is staying, says Ace Bleach. Left back is a must, says Fortune Achabri. Herrera, Pereira, Pogba midfield trio, says Mark Law. Yeah, we don't talk about that enough, I do. Pereira's got to be involved. He has to be involved as far as I'm concerned. Fantastic player. I don't want him to, I have concerns. I don't know whether anybody wants to sort of call in and talk about that, because I think it's a really good, and I'll start it off actually. I do have concerns about Twansibi, Fosu Mensah and Pereira. For me, I think they're all ready. They're all ready to be playing regular games for Manchester United. But if you look back on the tour, he hardly gave Twansibi any time. He refuses to play Fosu Mensah as a midfielder. And Pereira, I don't think Pereira, for the quality of player he is, and I know to some people it's a surprise, but he's been playing first team football for a whole season in La Liga. He's a top quality player. For me, he's on par with people like Herrera. He is a very, very good player. We shouldn't be treating him as a youth player that, oh, I hope he gets a few minutes this season. He's had a whole season in La Liga. He was in the top 5 for take-ons in La Liga in a side that was relegated. He is bang, bang ready. He should be playing football for Manchester United regularly this season. But I've got concerns about Pereira, Fosu Mensah and Twansibi and how many minutes they'll actually get. I mean, let's not forget last season, up until the last game in the Premier League, Fosu Mensah had played 20 minutes in 37 Premier League games, which is absolutely atrocious. So my thought is that if Mourinho's not going to use them, get them out on loan. But in relation to Pereira, he definitely should be using him. And Twansibi looks absolutely amazing. And I think Fosu Mensah just is a fantastic player. But as a right back, we're not getting the best out of him, and that does frustrate me. But so that is an interesting sort of area where we'll have to wait and see what happens. Let me just click this. I've clicked somebody. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Ziad. Oh, hi Ziad. You've not been on for a while. What did you want to say? I hope you're well.
I'm good. Thanks. I wanted to talk about Manchester United's midfield and going into the new season, how we're going to shape up against the rest of the top six, and really what's next in Manchester United and how we're going to play next season. Because in my opinion, if we go into the season with Matic, Herrera, and Pogba, that's 2/3 of a brilliant midfield that can go on and possibly win you the Premier League. People that are going on about Matic, oh, he's going to be able to free Pogba, he's going to unleash this new wonder midfield that's going to go on and win the Premier League. I don't know what they're on about. He played beside Kante last season because he scored a couple of goals and he was part of the title-winning side. Everyone thinks he's all that. He played beside Kante, people. Kante basically does the work of two players. If people look at Matic as a singular player, he's going to start the season 29. So we're only going to be able to get maximum maybe 2-3 good years out of him. Why are we going for a player like that? He's slow. He's a static midfielder. I'll give him that he has a good passing range, but other than that, there's so many better options out there, even within our current squad. Why isn't he giving Fosu Mensah a chance? Fosu Mensah's ready, in my opinion. He's bulked up. He's ready. He could be the revelation of next season if he starts him there. This summer's just been really bad in terms of transfers for me, Mark.
I think it's an interesting point about Matic, because I think we're all starting to come around to the fact that he's going to sign, and we are sort of clinging on to the good bits. He's got a very good left foot and he can pass, which Fellaini can't. But I think you're right that he's a risk signing for me. And I did say this a few weeks ago. Mourinho signed 4 players for Manchester United, and you could pretty much say all of them have been a good signing. Very few managers can maintain even a 70% strike rate with signings without a few of them flopping. And I think Matic is potentially the flop, because I think you don't have to scratch the surface too much. Chelsea want to get rid of him, which is always a big sign. I don't agree with United signing any player that their club wants to sell. You should be forcing a player out because you're Manchester United, and that club should be hanging on for dear life. At least Inter Milan are doing that with Perisic. But Chelsea want rid of Matic. And also, you've hit the nail on the head there. 2 years ago, Mourinho got sacked, and Matic was one of the worst players in that side. You speak to Chelsea fans, him and Ivanovic were a disgrace. And obviously Mourinho got the sack, and he was awful that season, like most of them. Last season, he won a Premier League title. But Kante, every time I saw Chelsea play, was just like 2 players. So it's hard to gauge Matic. We could sign him and he could be really good, but I think he's a big risk, and regardless of what you think about him, I think he's a risk we don't need to take.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Mark. But here's the thing that I don't know if Jose has considered this. It's a deal that we could definitely do, but I don't know if Woodward's got this around yet, or if it's even been in Jose's list. Renato Sanchez is available. Just 1 year ago, Jose was going on about him, about how great he was, and how if he was here, Manchester United manager earlier, he would have signed him. He's available now, and we could get him for probably 5 or 10 million pounds cheaper than we would pay for Matic. I mean, Herrera, Pogba, to dominate a midfield for me. There's so many players out there that Jose isn't looking at that he should be, and it's just frustrating as a Manchester United fan, especially looking over at what Liverpool are doing. I mean, I don't follow Liverpool that much, but just from what you hear, I mean, we have to admit their summer has been slightly better than ours, and it's worrying as a Manchester United fan going into the new season.
I've agreed with everything you've said, Ziad, but I don't agree with that. I'm not envious of Liverpool's summer at all. I don't rate Salah. I think he'll be a flop, and I'm not too. Who else have they bought?
Zuba.
Anyway, thanks for calling in. Really good points, and please do call in again.
All right, thanks a lot, Mark.
Cheers, pal. Everton are playing, what I would say is that I can feed you how United fans are feeling, because you can pretty much pick it up by how many people are watching shows, and viewing figures across the board and everywhere have dropped massively today, which I think is concerning, because we should actually be full of exuberance and excitement, and United fans are just not that interested today as they normally are. You know it yourself, we're normally up around 4,000 views. Last night we were up over 4,000 comfortably. Tonight it's 2,600, and thanks to everyone who's getting involved. You're all fantastic, you're the real hardcore. But yeah, I just think United fans are a little bit fed up at the moment, and maybe they need a little bit of a break. But Rooney's playing for Everton, and apparently his first touch is great. I'm not surprised. You know, he's now playing for the club that he loves, the club that's part of him, his boyhood club, the club that he supports. I think he loved Manchester United, but I think he fell out of love with Manchester United, and it just became about the money. I think he's been rejuvenated at Everton, and I'm looking forward to watching Everton this season. I think they've made some good signings, and Rooney has been a great player for Manchester United, and I'm interested to see how he can do in the Premier League. I don't think he's going to roll back the years, though, at all. And Joshua Murray says, I'm watching Everton, and Rooney's doing rubbish. Right, I'm going to take another call. Let's have a look who we've got. There's a lot of people calling, so I'm just trying to hit a green button. It's messing around a bit. Here we go. Hello, is that who have we got?
It's Per Mark from South Africa.
Hi, pal. How you doing? You all right?
I'm alright. And yourself?
Yeah, good. Thanks. What was it you wanted to talk about?
Okay, well, I didn't listen. I literally just joined the show now, so I didn't. I usually listen to what you talk about in the beginning and then just feed off of that. But I would like to talk a bit about our transfers and sort of look ahead at the upcoming season.
Okay.
So the general consensus, obviously, is that Mourinho's signings this season have not been what we expected them to be. And I would usually I agree with a lot of the things that you say, but I'd really like to start on the potential signing of Nemanja Matic, and I'm going to have to disagree with a lot of the things that you've said to begin with. Is that all right?
Great, good, yeah. I always like a different opinion, so yeah, go for it, pal.
So firstly, for me, it's I remember when I think it was Mourinho who signed Matic back to Chelsea. I think it was his first season back in the second spell. I'm not too sure, but I remember all the Chelsea fans were really upset that Mourinho signing a player who they sold before, and now he's coming back again. And then the season that he had after that was an amazing season. He really played really well. And fair enough, the season that Mourinho got sacked at Chelsea, Matic didn't do too well. But I think, given the season that he did have underneath Mourinho, I think Matic is going to be a good signing. And the reason that I say that is that, as United fans, I think we need to stop looking at the signings and the style of play that Mourinho is trying to enforce as Man United, the team, because I honestly feel that Mourinho is not building a Man United team, but he's building a Jose Mourinho team. Now, one thing I do agree with you is that a lot of the times you mention that Mourinho will sign midfielders or he'll play Fellaini and so on because they are tall and that, but that's Mourinho's style of play. That's what has got him to be the manager that he is, the manager that's so well respected because he plays his style of football. And the reason that so many Man United fans are disappointed in the signings and the general, not all the time, but a lot of the football that's being played right now is because we are used to the United way. And the last two managers that we've had have, I want to say, tried to, maybe Van Gaal not so much, but they've tried to play to the fans, or they've tried to play the United way, but they just either didn't have the players for it, or they themselves as the managers weren't good enough to enforce that style of play. So what Mourinho's done is, sorry, yeah?
I was just going to say, in relation to Matic, I mean, so are you saying we should be happy with signing him just because Mourinho wants him, or is he somebody you actually think would be decent for United with the attributes that he brings?
I think with the attributes that he brings, that's someone that we should be happy about, because he's a midfielder that's going to come in to do a job. He's not coming in to be the star of the team. Mourinho sees a gap in our midfield for Nemanja Matic, and he feels that that's the player that can come in because he has done that job before. Now, I've heard a lot of talk of Matic was okay because he had Kante next to him and so on and so on. But I mean, I feel he still performed a specific role for the team, and Mourinho obviously sees him performing that exact role in our midfield this season. And we need to remember that in our first 11, look, I'll completely agree. In terms of depth, we are lacking. We really are. But in terms of our first 11, if you put Nemanja Matic in there to do a specific job, he's going to do that job quite well. And then you look at the players that are around him, like Herrera and Pogba. So Pogba's going to be the more attacking force, and then Herrera is obviously going to be the one to take the ball off of Matic and then provide that forward. I think Nemanja Matic defensively can do a solid job. And in terms of, he doesn't need to be an amazing passer, he doesn't need to be quick and so on, but he just needs to take the ball and get it to Herrera, and then from there onwards we move forward.
Okay, interesting points, Shvi. Nice to get a different opinion on Matic. Really do appreciate that. And I know you've been on a few times, but please do call in again. Really good points.
Yeah, will do, Mark. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, pal. Yeah, you know, more and more fans are, some of them actually liked the thought of Matic from the start. More and more fans are coming round to it. What I would say is, if you're like me and you don't really want him, we need to start coming round to it, because we are going to get him. And the positive I would say is that he's definitely better than Fellaini. So am I. Please do drop a like on the video. We've had new people on the show tonight calling in. The first call was interesting if you missed it. He was doing so well till the end. We've had Shvi and Mark, and they've obviously been on before. Really good callers. We had Sophie on for the first time. So make sure you just drop a like on the video on the Skype shows, because it's everybody calling in and having their say. United fans, some of them, I don't think anybody was nervous tonight, which is great. But it's your show. It is your show, and that's why we do it, and that's why I enjoy it, because you never know what's going to happen. And I've certainly enjoyed everybody's opinion so far tonight. So yeah, support each other. Support each other on the United stand. And thanks for all your support last night. We're getting a lot of dislikes on the video at the moment. Don't know why, but last night you certainly backed us. We had 2,500 likes on last night's video, which is fantastic, and it really makes us feel good about the content we do, because sometimes we do delve into areas that others aren't, they're too scared to talk about it, but it is real fan opinion and it creates debate. And you know, when you lot support us like that with a like on the video or your comments, it really does mean a lot, because we know, I know when I'm talking that there's a voice in my head saying, you might not want it to be the total truth about that, because that's not what most other channels or TV channels do, because they want to be liked. But I want to be honest. I want to generate real debate, and I want to be honest about how I'm feeling about Manchester United. And I think we've turned a corner hopefully tonight, and I think those people who call all us lot who raise our concerns negative, I think you're the negative people. We're the positive people. As a couple of people have said tonight, we've got a fantastic first 11. I think one decent midfielder to feed the attackers and take the ball off the back four, and we are real contenders. I think the problem is this use of people like Fellaini and Carrick as the link between the defence and the midfield, and the attacking midfield and the attackers is the problem. It slows us down. We don't create chances. So, but apart from that, I think we've got a good defence. We've got a world-class goalkeeper. We've got an exciting, youthful, talented attack. We just need a decent centre defensive midfielder. It's the most important position. We were all talking about it back in April. So I'm not being negative. I'm positive about what we can achieve this season if we sign just one player. Those people who are saying, oh, you're negative and you're moaning, I call you negative, because you're obviously happy with what we are at the moment. And that for me is not, you know, fighting for 4th and finishing 6th. That's not Manchester United. Every single season for most of my life we were battling for the title or winning it. I don't expect us to win it every year, but Manchester United should always be battling for it. And the cold, harsh truth is, since Sir Alex Ferguson left and we're going into our 5th season now, we haven't been near even 2nd place come March and April. We've got to get back to challenging for the title. I think we can do it. I think you look at people like Martial and Rashford and Pereira and Mkhitaryan and Lukaku and Pogba. These are top players. They just are a bit like fish out of water. They're starved of oxygen. They need to be fed. They need to be fed, and they will fly. They will be fantastic. But our midfield is the hindrance at the moment. We're just not moving the ball enough through it. Mark, you know Fellaini's probably the worst signing that Manchester United has ever made, says Richard Kearns. He's a huge reason why we've been struggling in recent years. I'm shocked Jose hasn't seen what Van Gaal didn't. Yeah, well, you know, like I said, maybe he puts all the cones out in the morning and makes everyone a cup of tea. I don't know what he does, but he's an oddity in the fact that most fans are furious and frustrated by how he plays in the team week in, week out, but most managers keep picking him. And that argument of old managers know more than the fans, well, I've given you the evidence there. Every year Fellaini's been here, and it's not totally his fault, we've been battling for 4th or finishing outside of 4th. We've been nowhere near a title-winning team. And I'll say it as I've said every single season. If Fellaini plays for Manchester United more than 20 games this season, we'll be battling for 4th. It's a fact. But the last few managers don't seem to have twigged onto that. And as I said, we're not going to sell Fellaini. I don't mind if we use him in the last 10-20 minutes as a get in the opposition's box and use your chest control and cause trouble. But as the man who takes the ball off the back four to feed the attackers, you may as well play Peter Crouch there. In fact, Peter Crouch has got a bit of control and can actually pass further than Fellaini. But I don't want it to turn into that sort of show. But he gets mentioned a lot because he gets played in the position a lot, which is the one position that will take us from uncertainty to what I believe is championship contenders. I think the rest of the team is a battle that is as good as anything else in the league. Like I said, Lukaku up front, Rashford, Martial, Mkhitaryan, Pogba, Herrera, Bailly, Valencia, De Gea. Them players are good enough to go into any team in the Premier League. Any team in the Premier League. The flip side is Darmian, Fellaini, an ageing Carrick, Jesse Lingard on league form and not US Tour form. I don't think they're good enough to get into any team in the top 8. So that's the problem. The midfielder, Mourinho's aware of it though. It's just who he gets in. And if he gets Mourinho in the midfield, if he gets Matic in the midfield, look, I think that's wrong. I'm sure a lot of you think that's wrong. He's the manager. He'll be proved right or wrong, and I hope he proves us wrong. But it is interesting. I think it will be Matic and Perisic, and I've always felt that for a long time. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Super chat. Anthony Gallagher, thanks for the contribution. Google says, Glazers out, please, Mark. Everyone and fight for our club, says Google. Look, Glazers out's nothing new, is it? I'm not going to start doing things like that, and I don't encourage anybody else. If you are a match game fan, I don't encourage you to do that at all. We've tried that before. It just brings a lot of unnecessary heat onto the club. They're not great owners, but we would have signed Griezmann, I think, and I've just clicked something I didn't want to do there. I'm just trying to think if there's something. I'm sure there was something I wanted to tell you all. Oh yes, there was actually. For those who've stayed till the end, you're going to get a little bit of a glimpse of something. 2,000 of you watching. It is a Skype show. We've had some fantastic callers tonight. It takes 1 second to hit that like button. Let's get 1,000 likes for our callers tonight before I go off. I've just been asked to check some Manchester United transfer news, which it's always exciting when you're live. It's all about Bale and Ross Barkley, potentially. I like Barkley. I do like Barkley. I've been quite consistent about that. Whether we'll get Bale or not, I don't know. I presume Telegraph Ducker says Gareth Bale to Manchester United could be back on. Well, let's see how that goes for the next hour or so, and I might do a little video about 10:30 if it builds, which it might do. And just a little bit, because you are, the United Stand is your channel, and we do like to give you the information first. It might not be, it's probably only going to be suitable to a small minority of you, but the United Stand has obviously grown a hell of a lot over the last year. We're not far off 120,000 subscribers. I've taken on board a lot of what people have been saying over the last few weeks, that you're getting a bit fed up of my face and my opinions. So we are making a little bit of money in revenue now, and our purpose has always been to pump that back into the channel. So to cut a long story short, we're looking for part-time paid work on the United stand, and what we're effectively looking for is probably somewhere between 10 and 15 hours a week, and we've probably got, you'd be looking at something between £5,000 and £10,000 a year, so probably around £10 an hour. We will obviously help you out in relation to some of the skills that we have around social media and filming and etc. like that. But what we're really looking for is people who can hit the ground running, whether you're a student, whether you're around my age in your late 20s. That's what we're looking for. So we are going to be putting adverts out, so we are going to be looking for, you know, pretty decent people, but we're also a fan channel as well. I started this from nothing. There's no reason that one of you lot couldn't do it as well. If you are interested, the best email address is soccerboxtv@gmail.com. Just send us a little bit of summary, what you've done, your sort of age, what you're looking to do, experience, etc. It'd be beneficial if you're in and around the Manchester area, because one thing we don't really do is content around Manchester, and we'd like to do that, but it's not a deal breaker. You're going to have to be UK based, unfortunately. This is the one time where we can't do global stuff, which is a shame, because maybe we are looking at global stuff, but the first step is obviously the biggest step. We all do this as a part-time thing, so whoever comes in to do this is going to be our first sort of paid member. So it's a big responsibility. We'll help you with it. It is part-time work, and we would expect it to go full-time. And that is all down to you lot. So whether you are thinking about doing it or not, give yourselves a big pat on the back, because the growth of the United stand now means that we can actually start getting people to come in and you know, work on it and take it to that next level. So thanks for that. It is a community. I'm certainly not going to stop doing my day job. Drawty's not. Paul, who does the website's not. That's not why we do this. We do this as a hobby, but it is getting quite big now, and we would like to get people who are, and reward them for that, who want to you know, do it to build their careers. So soccerboxtv@gmail.com if you're interested. You've got to have some skills. Look, you know, we get videos sent to us all the time, and with all due respect, they're not fantastic. We give them people feedback and we tell them what to do. We haven't got the time to sort of say this is how you do it, because part of the reason we're doing it is to free up some time for us to do other stuff. But if you think you've got the skills, we're opening it up to you first, and we'll see what sort of response we get. And if it's not what we're looking for, then we'll obviously put adverts out, but we'd love to get someone from you lot. Thanks everybody for watching. It's soccerboxtv@gmail.com. I'll probably actually put a comment up for people who aren't watching live, just so you can see what the email address is. But thanks everyone for watching. Really enjoyed it tonight. We might be back live in a couple of hours. We'll see how this Gareth Bale thing goes, but if not, I'll be back at 7 AM tomorrow with the transfer show. And tomorrow night I've got a fantastic show lined up at 8 o'clock. I think you're going to really, really enjoy it. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all very soon. Please drop a like. We didn't hit 1,000 likes tonight, and I only say it on these shows and sort of beg for likes because it's for the callers who come on. I want them to have 1,000 likes. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all very soon.